So I made another video about the myth that you cannot manifest from survival. I told you a story about how you can certainly manifest through or being in survival mode, right? And that the outcome of that often comes with a lot of some suffering in the middle. I mentioned blood, sweat, and tears. So efforting and just hustle and grind and exhaustion, right? So it's a myth that you have to regulate your nervous system to manifest. However, you can manifest, right? But from the place you're manifesting from survival, guess what frequency lies in there? It's a frequency of desperation. Okay? So when you're desperate, what's going to happen is the following. So it's an energy of chasing, right? Obviously. So I told you the story that even though I literally quantum leaped into like upper management in like a global Fortune 500 corporation at age 30, even though I did that, the quantum jump happened when I was in a state of flow, knowing, and believing and faith and all of that. But once I was inside of it, once I was in the corporate career, what happened was that I wanted to climb. I wanted more from a place of desperation. There was really no outside reason of why that I would need to be desperate, but it was an old wound that resurfaced. Okay? So when there's that desperation vibe, that chasing energy, what happens is that you will start repelling because you're chasing, right? So I mentioned in this story that no matter the impact, no matter the accomplishments and just impact again to the people, to the numbers, to everything, I was stuck. I was being passed over for promotions. I even had a boss that told me that he told me, I know that you can do so much more. I know that you want to do so much more and you're so capable, but he's like, it shows a little too much. He in different words told me, you're fucking desperate and we know it. And again, that was my own freaking dinosaur chasing me. There wasn't anything else. And so the story of how my survival and that wound, where that came about, it was a safety issue, right? It's a topic for a different video. But anyway, you always hit a ceiling because you'll start to emit a frequency of desperation, of need. And you know how when you're chasing a man, when you are chasing money, whatever it is, it will run away from you. And I told you in that story that no matter what I did, I was stuck for years being passed over and yada yada yada. So it's called manifesting through force. And again, even though I manifested that successful corporate career, it was from a place of ego, from what I thought, not what I felt, what I thought would lead me to a place I wanted, right? At the time. Right? And again, you know, in the other video, it might seem a little bit like, now I'm too good for it, kind of that attitude. It's not that. We should always, you know, be grateful for our journey, because it always will take us to where we're meant to be in the end, right? But it can be shorter, it can be less painful. And if only you can allow yourself to feel, if only you can step into feeling what it is that you truly want, not what you think you should have, is when you'll be able to take a path that not only will it be the path of least resistance, which means the easiest path for you, the simplest path for you, right? And the path that is filled with your love, with the love for what you're doing genuinely. Mind you, I loved the intellectual nature of... Mind you, I liked the intellectual nature of the work that I was doing and all of that. That's why I probably became successful at it. I had a lot of impact. But I was chasing recognition, okay? And that's a story for another video, right? That's a story for another day. It's a very important topic. And the bottom line of that is that only when I gave that to myself was I able to get it from the outer world. But anyway, you wanna choose, like, hopefully what this video can really give you is that knowing that trust in that if you only can follow what you love, if you only can say yes to you, yes to soul, and that means what do you truly love? What do you want to do? Yeah. Only when you are able to ask yourself that and follow that, that's intuition, that's your higher self, okay? As opposed to ego, as opposed to the survival mind, the primal mind, right? Some authors call this self one to the ego. Some call it self two. But anyway, if you can just stop to think and just feel what you want to do, follow that intuition. You know, forget about rational arguments on that topic, right? I used to be conditioned when I was young that I should only choose a path that will give me money for sure, whether I love it or not. I used to hate numbers when I was little because they were hard for me. I forced myself to become good at it by practice. And I went into that, and eventually it became easy, but I wasn't following soul, right? I was in survival mode at the end of the day when I chose what I was doing back in the day. Okay? So if you can stop to think and say yes to what you love, this is the path into starting that journey outside of survival. Okay? Because when you're manifesting through survival and via forcing, it's completely different from power, completely different from magnetism. And I'm going to break that down in a separate video, right? So when you're in the middle of it, it's hard to see, but if you're watching this video, I want you to know, and I want you to understand that if you are in survival mode right now, you will manifest a lot of things from the ego and conquer that and achieve that, but it will not be for your greatest good. So the affirmation or the prayer for that is, let me manifest what is in my greatest good, in the greatest good for all. I don't know what it is, but I am open to it. I don't know what it is. So in another video, I'll talk about going into the uncertainty and learning to love uncertainty. So stay tuned for that. And just understand that it's not going to be what is ultimately the best for you when it comes from the mind, from the ego. Okay? So I'll see you on the next.